I'll collect the evidence and make it beautiful.
By chance, we were seated at the same time at the end of the year party, and my classmate Yoshida called out to me, so I was about to head to a suitable seat. Yoshida threw the bowl he was holding over my head. Yoshida's toramaki made the other 3 people fly away. I clenched my fists and endured my anger. Well, I'll abandon the 10 billion yen contract and make it beautiful. I said that and left the store. And then I contacted a certain place on my feet. As a result, Yoshida fell into hell. Because of my actions, Yoshida walked the path to his own destruction. My name is Kochi Yuhei, 35 years old, and I run an apparel company. I gained experience in apparel for several years and started an apparel company called R at the age of 27. Before I got on the move, I was poor and did day labor and part-time jobs, but I finally got on the move and now it has grown into a fairly well-known company. I'm very rewarded by the work I wanted to do, and I enjoy working every day. My father is also of a different race, but he is also a businessman and I sometimes ask him for advice when I have problems at work. One day, I was living such a fulfilling life when I received some news. This news led me to be involved in an unexpected event. Since I was in junior high school, I had dreamed of starting my own apparel brand. So I went to a school that had a design department for high school, and in college, I studied business management. During high school, I worked part-time at a clothing store and never studied. My grandfather had a big influence on me wanting to have my own brand. My grandfather originally ran a custom suit company. I admired my grandfather, who worked with vitality, and as I grew up, I began to want to have my own company like my grandfather. My grandfather worked hard until he was 80 years old, but now that he is old, his right-hand man has taken over. When I talked to my father about wanting to have my own brand when I was in the 3rd year of junior high school, they were very happy. It's fine to start a company, but you have to do it with your own strength. Don't think we can help you. We won't give you any support, so if you're going to work hard with that in mind, we'll support you. Both my grandfather and father struggled when they were young to start their own companies, so they told me to try my best if I could overcome those difficulties. They paid for my high school and university education as their role as parents, but as they declared, they didn't help me with the startup money. Maybe that's why I was able to work so hard. During high school, I worked 2 part-time jobs at a clothing store and a convenience store, and I didn't have time to play. My classmate Yoshida made fun of me and said, "Are you in financial trouble? We have to give you something because you're poor." Quote. He often said it was a shame that you couldn't play even though you were a student. After graduating from university, I got a job at an apparel company to gain experience. I learned a lot there, and at the age of 27, I finally saved up enough money to start my own apparel brand. When we first started, it was a small company with 5 people, but as the monthly fees increased, the number of people increased to 10, then 50, and now we are managing a company with over 200 employees. Recently, our reputation has increased, and we are receiving more and more calls from various companies, and our performance is also soaring. While I was spending such fulfilling days, one day, I received a notice of a class reunion. It was the first time in 15 years since the class reunion at the age of 20, when I had my coming-of-age ceremony. Looking at the date, I thought it was still a long way off, so I thought I could still make arrangements now, so I ticked the box to attend and disguised myself. And 2 months later, the day of the class reunion arrived. I was feeling a bit excited from the morning that day. The president said to me, "You're in a better mood than usual today." I finished work on time and headed to the hotel where the reunion was held. When I arrived and entered the venue, everyone was already gathered, forming groups and having a good time. I was feeling nostalgic when someone tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around and it was a classmate who I was close with in junior high school. While I was talking about old times with my classmate for a while, someone called out to me again. I turned towards the voice and saw an unfamiliar man standing there. I wondered who it was, but I couldn't recognize him. It's Yoshida Kenji. It's been a while since I've seen Takachi since high school. He still looks poor. It was Yoshida who used to make fun of Nikako and me. He had changed so much that I didn't realize it was Yoshida. It's been a while. Yoshida has changed a lot. In the past, Yoshida used to dress rather quietly, but now he's covered in high-brand clothes and accessories, and looks like he's looking forward to something. Oh, this isn't anything special. By the way, what kind of work do you guys do? Yoshida asked me, and when my classmate said he worked at a car repair company, he said, "You can make a living on that?" And started making fun of my classmate with a look of disbelief on his face. It seems he hasn't changed since middle school when he made fun of people. After I cut him off and made my classmate a horse, he started asking me about my job. I was about to say that I work in apparel. Yoshida immediately took my words and said, "You're lying, aren't you? That's crazy. Are you still working part-time? Not having a baby at 35 is crazy." "You're a loser," he said, laughing and making fun of me. I got annoyed that he was making fun of me so much that I asked him what kind of work he does. Yoshida then put on a proud face. "I don't really have to work, but I'm an executive at Company Y. Well, Company Y's Y is a big company, so famous that you can say that there's no one who doesn't know it. It's a company I know well." Yoshida started talking about himself, probably because we were surprised when he heard the company name, even though we didn't ask him. When we talked, it seems that Yoshida married one of the presidents of Company Y. It seems that he's not doing well, but his life hasn't changed. He quit the company he was working for after marrying his wife and became an executive. I think that's what they call a co-employment. His wife is the vice president, so he doesn't have to work because she pays for all his living expenses. He's just working to kill time. No matter how much you spend, money just comes pouring out. Yoshida said this with a boastful tone. We were listening to his boasting, but we were getting tired of it and decided to leave Yoshida. Wait, the story isn't over yet. Yoshida tried to stop us, so we said, "That's enough." "I'm jealous," I replied monotone. Then he said, "You didn't like my attitude? Don't make fun of me, you lowlife who can only do part-time work. Don't get drunk, poor people. Quote. He suddenly got angry, his face red with blood. He must have been drunk, because he shouted out some horrible things, and finally shouted that he couldn't talk to poor people, and left the venue. I asked other classmates, and it seems that Yoshida had been bragging to everyone about his wife and company, and everyone found him annoying. Thanks to Yoshida's departure, we were able to enjoy the reunion. One day, a few weeks after the reunion, the year-end party season began, and my company's year-end party also started today. Because our company has a large number of employees, each department has its own year-end party, and as the president, I have to attend all of the parties. Today is the first group, the sales department's year-end party, and of course I plan to attend. However, I have one appointment scheduled today, and I will join them as soon as that is finished. I somehow managed to finish the appointment just before 9 p.m., and hurried to the izakaya where the party was held. I was about to head to the seat in the back room that I had been told about in the izakaya's contact. Isn't that expensive? He's a coach after all. What are you doing here? Yoshida, who must have been sitting at a table, called out to me. I never thought I'd meet him in a place like this. Thinking that, I greeted him casually. Then Yoshida stood up and put his arm around my shoulder. Why are you wearing a suit even though you're a part-timer? I'll introduce you to you guys. This guy is my classmate, but he's still a part-timer. That's crazy. He started to introduce me to the three people who seemed to be his friends in a funny way. Are these three people Yoshida's entourage? Following Yoshida's words, they started to make fun of me. I was angry, but I'm not stupid enough to deal with a drunk. Sorry. I'm in a bit of a hurry. I said that and tried to leave Yoshida's seat. You've been acting like a poor guy for a while now. It's your fault, isn't it? He came in with a grumpy look on his face and said, "Collect the evidence and make it clean." Yoshida said that and poured the beer mug he was holding over my head. I was surprised by the suddenness, but maybe because the puri maki heckled me, I ended up pouring 2 or 3 glasses of beer over my head. As a result, my body was covered in beer. Now my poverty is gone. You should be grateful to me. Yoshida said that to me with a triumphant look on his face. Even I, who was a sweetheart, had my sweetness broken, and I decided to take revenge on Yoshida. Well, I'll give up the 10 billion contract and get it over with. Well, I said to Yoshida, and left the izakaya on the way I came. I only contacted the sales manager and apologized for not being able to attend the year-end party because the meeting was taking too long, and immediately called a certain place after that. A few days after the beer throwing incident, I was called by someone and went to the company. When I told the receptionist the name of the company, I was guided to the president's office, and when I stepped into the president's office, a man in his 60s and a woman in her 30s greeted me. President Makoto, I'm sorry for this. When I apologized, I was very sorry. Thank you for coming all the way here today. This is my daughter, Minako. The president said that and introduced the woman to me. Thank you for coming all the way here today. I'm very sorry about the other day. I'll do it on behalf of the person in question. Minako apologized to Fuka and me. I was lured in and apologized, and for a while, the three of us had an apology party. After apologizing to each other, we got straight to the point. Regarding the matter from the other day, we investigated it immediately after you contacted us. I didn't think it was true, but it's really embarrassing. The two of them look so apologetic that it makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong. Mister, while investigating this matter, a certain fact came to light. Is it a certain fact? Is it okay for me to ask about it? When I asked that, I thought that President Kochi should also hear it, so I called you here today. With that, the president and Minako told me a certain fact. After the three of us were talking for a while, we heard a knock on the president's office. When Minako opened the door, someone I knew well appeared. It was the trio of Yoshida, and Toramaki who came to the president's office. Yoshida and Toramaki looked very surprised when they saw me. Why are you here? When Yoshida said that, Minako said in a sober tone, it's not surprising that you're here because you're the president of our client company. It's pathetic that you don't even know the face of the president of our client company. But I never imagined that President Kochi and you were classmates. Hearing this, Yoshida and Toramaki and the others muttered the words, huh? With straight faces. I knew he couldn't do it, but it's embarrassing that he couldn't do it to this extent. The president began to hold his head in his hands. I told you the other day, right? I'll settle the 10 billion yen consultation. I came here today to get back to normal. When I said that, he said, oh, you said that the other day, but you're a part-time worker at a clothing store. As if to interrupt his words, the president stood up, shaking the desk with a bang. You really don't know anything. Ko-san is the president of the rapidly growing R. You've probably heard the name before. Yoshida said this with a straight face, the apparel company that sells most of our products. Yes, that's right. If we lose our business with you, we'll definitely be in danger of going bankrupt. I wonder what you guys did to that company's president, Kochi. Minako glared at Yoshida and Toramaki and the others with sharp eyes. Then the four of them froze with straight faces, like frogs staring at a snake. I've heard everything you did to Kochi from Kochi, so don't think you can get away with it. The truth is, the company I'm currently working for is Y. Minako, who answered the phone with the president, is the vice president of Y and Yoshida's wife. My company and Y have been doing business for about 2 years, and 70% of Y's products are from our company. When I heard about Y at the reunion, I thought he must have become the vice president's husband, but I didn't say it because I thought he wouldn't believe me if I told him I was the president. But I called the president of Y, who had completely cut the bag with the beer sword, and now your employee, Yoshida Kenji, has poured beer over my head. I said I couldn't do business with a company with such employees, and explained what happened at the izakaya. At first, the president was half-hearted about Hanshin, but he probably thought it would be a problem if the contract was terminated, so he said he would look into it immediately and contact me, and hung up the phone. Then, a few days later, I received a call from the president, who had looked into it, apologizing. It turns out that it was actually Yoshida and his friend's year-end party that day, and there were several other employees there besides Yoshida and Toramaki. The president immediately interviewed the members of the year-end party, and it seems that several employees saw the scene of pouring beer on me. The facts were discovered during the investigation, and I was called to the company today to apologize, which is where we are now. When I told them this, both Yoshida and Toramaki started trembling. They must have finally understood the position they are in. Because of you, this company is finished. What are you going to do about it? It's a company that has been protected for generations since my grandfather's platform. Because of your poor behavior. I didn't know that Minako would stand next to Yoshida and the others. Yoshida tried to make an excuse after this if he had known that was the president of a business partner. But what kind of nerve does it take to pour beer on someone, whether he knew it or not? It's embarrassing to have such an unreasonable person as a family member. The president interrupted with a red face, so Yoshida immediately shut his mouth. And you're not the only one. It seems like you were doing a lot of selfish things thinking I didn't know. Stop messing around. Minako puts down a stack of things on the desk and tells Yoshida more facts. Minako slams down a stack of dozens of receipts. Huh, what, why this? Yoshida's face goes from blue to white. He wrote off all the food and drink expenses and brand name items as expenses. He lied to the accounting department and said he got permission from me. I don't remember saying that, so I wonder when I said it. When Minako asks him that, he can't find the words to respond. Yoshida looks away. I spoke to Minako and the president before Yoshida and the others came, and it seems that Yoshida lied to the accounting department, writing off food and drink expenses as expenses and brand name items as additional expenses. When they were interviewing Yoshida about the beer pouring incident, Minako consulted the accountant about expenses, and this fact was discovered. After that, the president and Minako investigated all the receipts that Yoshida had written off as expenses, and discovered the amount of misappropriation. The fact that the president and Minako wanted to tell me was about Yoshida's embezzlement. He should be getting a decent salary because he's in the department, but he's touching the company's money. But seeing how much brand name he wears, it makes sense. What you did is a serious embezzlement crime. I'm going to make you quit the company for ruining this deal and for the embezzlement. Of course, I'm going to make you divorce me, so be prepared. When Minako said that, Yoshida suddenly became anxious and started clinging to everyone. Please just give me a break. I'll pay back what I spent and I'll work hard from now on. So just think about getting a divorce. However, Minako didn't give in and shook Yoshida off with all her might. Don't touch me. Leave this place right now. I never want to see your face again. Minako said that and turned away from Yoshida. Maybe she thought Minako wasn't good enough. Yoshida clung to me this time. I beg of you. You have to convince everyone. If you put the Shoten back on track, everything will be fine. Let the beer sword go and be an adult here. You might get me divorced. Still not understanding what I did wrong, Yoshida told me to accept the Shoten in a condescending tone. This is what it means to be shocked and speechless. I shook my head and said, "You really don't understand anything. It's not that kind of problem anymore. I can't answer that request. If you're going to hate me, hate your own actions." Quote. I looked Yoshida in the eye and said that, and he collapsed on the spot, crying. He probably thought that crying would solve everything. I could see him glancing at me from time to time. When a person falls this far, I think there is no salvation. Toko-san, who is wondering what to do, I'm sorry for taking up your time today. We'll take care of the rest, so please go home. The president said that, So I left Y-san in the hands of the president and Minako-san and left him. The moment the door to the president's office closed, I heard the president's voice and my excitement subsided and I returned to the office feeling refreshed. After that, I had a chance to hear about Yoshida from Minako. Yoshida and Minako got divorced, and Yoshida left. Why? She said that she didn't report him to the police because she borrowed money and made him pay back the misused expenses in one lump sum. However, Yoshida, who had been completely dependent on Minako for rent and living expenses, was kicked out of his house after the divorce. As a result, he was homeless and foodless, so he found a live-in part-time job and started working, but he had almost no money left after paying off his debts. He sometimes contacts Minako when he says that living in poverty is difficult. Yoshida had always looked down on me as poor, but now he is in that position. I don't want to make him a fool of me, but I feel like I want to tell him that what you do to others comes back to you. It seems that Yoshida's Toramaki and others also received penalties, but it seems that they all quit because it was too difficult. I think all four of them got what they deserved. After that, I decided to negotiate with Y again and make a new contract. The president and Minako-san bowed to me many times and thanked me, but I am also grateful for doing business with Y. I hope to continue to have a good relationship with Y also. After this first meeting, I somehow became friends with Minako-san. We went out drinking together and she became like an older sister to me. Recently, she has been worried about me because I am in the marriageable age but I don't have a girlfriend, and she said she will introduce me to a woman soon. It may be none of my business, but I am really focused on my work and don't know anything about love. I am a little anxious about whether I will be able to fall in love, but I am a little excited. I will work hard today, hoping for a good encounter.